What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about everything wrong with Life is Strange Season 2. Now, this is a video I've wanted to make for a very, very long time, but obviously needed the ending of this game, the final episode, in order to be able to do that. Now, we've ranted about the last episode. I reviewed it. I live streamed. I did everything humanly possible to Episode 5 of Life is Strange 2. Now, I do want to start this video off by saying this, because there's always a difference of opinions between mainly me and you guys, and I do just want to say it's totally cool. We don't have to have the same opinion. All I ask is that you at least hear me out and respect what I have to say, or at least respect the idea that somebody can just think differently than you. Loads of people in our comments and in our community have, and those people truly, truly rock. Now, again, I know I've really, really yelled at this game. I know I've gotten very, very upset and mad at it. In this video, I'm going to try and tone it down. Although I am going to just be railing on the entire game, I do want to kind of just slow it down, tone my voice down a little bit, and kind of go over, articulate as well as I can everything that I found wrong with this game. We're going to have more videos the next couple days as well, kind of talking about the future of Life is Strange and maybe what Season 2 could have actually done differently. So those are some videos that are going to be coming up over the next couple days. Okay, let's jump into this. The first thing that's wrong with this season is the brothers. And I don't think that's hard to explain from my point of view. I've been saying it literally since episode 1. There's just a lot wrong with them. I personally believe that the voice actor for Sean is very, very bad. I normally don't call out voice actors, voice actresses, actors, or actresses. Normally, I think they do really good jobs, or at least if maybe they don't do good jobs, and there are definitely films, TV shows, games in general where there's just bad acting. People are just bad actors, and I've called that out for things in the past. But sometimes it can be chalked up to writing, and the writing in this game is not good at all, whatsoever, but the acting does not help. I think Sean is severely, and I get that they're young, they're kids, and even if you go back with Life is Strange 1, even Max and Chloe, they're actual actresses, they're older, they were at the time in their 20s, mid to late 20s in terms of Max was in her late 20s, Hannah Tell and Ashley Birch for Chloe, so they were more seasoned people, although Hannah Tell isn't really that much of an actor. She does do some stuff, but she's not like an A-lister. She hasn't been in a ton of stuff, and she's not even like an Ashley Birch who has been in several games. You can expect a very solid performance for her. So, I'm giving them credit in the way that maybe they are just inexperienced, but at the same time, Sean, in terms of a voice actor, very, very weak. And then even in terms of character-wise, I really can't get behind these two. It was the number one problem, really, for the first couple episodes, I'd say, is the foundation was weak. Not just the story foundation, which I'll get to in a second, the whole leaving Seattle, which we've talked about at length, and I do want to bring up again, but just in terms of getting behind the brothers, like understanding their dynamic, caring about them, you got to be able to care about your characters. And, even people that say, I think this season's decent, or I think this season's good, I have even seen some of them say, yeah, they're pretty weak. They're pretty weak characters. And, I really do believe they are. Daniel is very, very bratty. He's very whiny. He acts like a kid, which, he is, and people will tell me that. He's only 9, he's only 10. Of course he's going to act like that. Yeah, but he acts like he's 4 sometimes. And I get they're going through this journey, and it's hard on them, and so things are going to happen. But you know what? Daniel caused it in the first place, and then everything that happened to them afterwards is all caused by the two brothers, mainly by Sean for putting them in certain situations. So, they did it to themselves. And that's another reason why I could never get behind them, is they're whiny. Sean has no way, again, voice acting wise, no way of conveying emotion. Whenever he sounds sad or upset, he literally reverts to being literally a young kid, like a 5-6-year-old, when he's supposed to be, 16, 7. So, I just couldn't get behind that because he sounded like a whiny brat and just not a good voice actor. In terms of the acting, again, the script did not help. What their characters did not help. I didn't like the relationship. I get that they were trying to do this two brother on the run thing. It just didn't, to me, it did not work. It did not work whatsoever. I didn't care about them individually. I didn't care about their relationship to each other. I just saw it as Daniel really hates Sean. That's all. I mean, Daniel is just fed up with Sean's BS of getting him to Mexico, and that was the whole game. So that was a real problem for me. You can continue on. There's so many things wrong. I don't want to make this a 30-minute video. Side characters, I think one of the weakest things about each in particular episode is introducing characters who then disappear afterwards. You saw that literally every single episode, and it's very hard for me, at least, and I think for a lot of people, you can't really get invested in side characters if they're going to be there for 2 minutes or even just one episode and move on. Were there some strong ones? Yeah, Lila was phenomenal in episode 1, and even I think they had like a phone call, right, in episode 2, she was fantastic. What a season it would have been if you would have explored more of her relationship with them. Would have been a whole lot better. But and she's the strongest, I think, of literally any of the characters, and we've barely talked to her. But most of the other characters, even still, the people that were pulling, I won't say the words, but in episode 3, pretty much, those characters, I didn't like them at all. Just basically, I did not like them. But I know some people did. But, like, did you really? Because, like, do you feel fulfilled by those characters? Because they were in it for like a couple minutes each, and now they're gone. They never revisit them. They're just gone. They're completely out of the picture. Same thing with like even episode 5, the beginning, throwing in that couple. It's like, well, that's clearly to push that ideology. Okay, that's just what it is. I have no problem with them. I'm not gonna say the word because YouTube again. But like I have no problem with it. I have friends that are like, so like it's fine. It's completely fine. But like, they're in it for like 5 minutes. Like, you just threw them in there for literally no reason except for when you do it politically or for those kind of, and I know that's not politics, but for that reason, it's just to push, oh, we're representing them in this game. And that's actually kind of like, that's actually not being equal to them whatsoever. And I just want to throw that in there as well for people that are interested in my take on that. But stuff like that with those characters are very, very upsetting, very hard to get invested in them. Like in season 1, there were so many side characters that you actually cared about. I can list their names. I can't even list the names of any of the characters I met. Can you tell me right now the people in the junkyard and that girl that was there that you had to build the sculpture with? Can you tell me her name without looking it up? Because I don't think you can, because she was in it for 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't the case in season 1, and that's why Arcadia Bay was a character, because you explored the city. You understood things that were going on. You cared about it. That's the whole point. That's why you had to make the decision at the end. You cared about the characters. That's why the decision at the end's hard. I can either save Chloe, my best friend, the person that I've really grown to love throughout this journey, or all these other characters that actually are people. Like, I know about them because I've talked to them, because we've experienced multiple episodes with them. Some of them have like huge arcs, right? And we know about them. And season 2, I can't even tell you their names. So that's a big, big problem to me. Again, without making this too big, I guess I can just jump to the centralized story. I mean, and politics. We'll throw in politics. Let's do politics first. The use of politics, I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you think I believe. Although I kind of do, but we'll leave it to the side. When you do something like what Life is Strange does, you are taking a massive risk. Now, no, just because I don't like what they did doesn't make me racist. Just because I don't like what they did doesn't make me one thing or the other, and doesn't make you one thing or the other. It's the simple fact that, 1, it was very, very lazy. 2, they don't actually know what they're talking about. Say what you want about the politics, but Don't Nod is firstly only talking about one side of the aisle. They're only painting it one color. We're going to make you feel bad about illegals. We're going to make it seem all perfectly fine. We're going to shove anti-Trump stuff straight down your throats. If you like him, well, screw you, because you're just going to get all of it. And that's it. You will never get the other side to it. The only thing you could argue is, quote unquote, the other side is like there was like one nice person in Sean's journey to Mexico throughout the entire thing. I wouldn't say Daniel, because Daniel wasn't with him. And that's what I was talking about with my fiance a few nights ago, is like, even if you say there are bad cops in the world, which there are, I'm not saying there aren't, they picked that as an example. Even though there are racists but of course they exaggerate the racism in the country. Although there are people like that, are there people that monitor the wall from 2 minutes away, ready to shoot anybody that just blows a gaping hole in it and yet doesn't know that they're the ones who do it? Are there real people that do that? No. And you could say, well, Alex, it's just a game. It's not real. Well, no, it is real, because they're focusing on political ideology. They're focusing on politics and the realization of racism in our country. That is real. So you can't have both things. And I've said that before. Can't choose to say, oh, we're going to focus on this extreme issue, and that extreme issue, but then also coincidentally leave out the other side of things, the other half of the people that think differently. Oh, we're not going to focus on them. We're only focused on one thing. We're not going to bother to show you the other side. We're going to kind of just manipulate it and show it to you our own way. And going back to my example is, how odd is it that Sean and Daniel literally met every racist known to man? Again, you could say they exist, sure, but not everybody is racist. The person in episode 1 that like tied them up. You skip ahead to episode 5 again with a person, the two people watching the wall. And if you even go back to episode 4, you have those people that were like just at the edge of Nevada, which just beat the heck out of Sean. So you're telling me that Sean just happened to run into the most over-exaggerated racist that the country has? Like, that is my prime example. That is baloney. That's garbage. And that's what Don't Nod is painting the picture. It's like, oh, the whole world, the whole United States is like this because we're showing it to you. And that is just a huge, you can have politics, but firstly, get ready for backlash. And secondly, at least show both sides to it. Don't just do one and go down that path. You're going to make the other side mad. And no, again, just because I disagree doesn't make me racist, okay? I don't know. If you can give me a reason, actual evidence to point to why I'm racist, go ahead. You won't find any, but it'll certainly be fun for you guys to look. But that is a big problem. And finally, my last one, I'm sure there's like 100 more I could say, but my last major problem is the story itself. We talked about this in 2 videos ago. We talked about this in review. We talked about this in the rant. The story makes no sense. You pretty much go into a complete circle. I get there's 4 different endings. I get there's 3 different variations. But overall, nothing would have changed if you stayed in Seattle. If on the day that the event of the first episode of Life is Strange happened, if you stayed there would have been no game. And that is the biggest flaw with this game. I get that you needed the game to happen, and this happens all the time with movies, TV show, games. You need something to push the characters to do it. Now, that something needs to be very, very good, or your story will eventually, either it'll suck immediately, or it'll catch up to you, or it'll make no sense at the end, but something will end up happening in a negative way, and I thought it was negative the entire time. In fact, I said it after episode 1, why did they leave? They could have explained it. They could have tried to explain it. Then we fast forward to the ending of this game, in which my personal ending, which, okay, you can have 3 different ones, but one of the endings you could have in this game is that Sean makes it free. He makes it to Mexico. He's completely fine. Who knows if he's crossing the border every other week? He could if he wanted to. And Daniel ends up with the grandparents scot-free for not only murdering a cop. Yeah, he killed his dad, but guess what? You don't go around killing people that killed somebody else. That's not how justice works. If that happened, we would crumble as a society. So he did that, and then he also went on to destroy federal agency buildings. He hurt officers. He hurt armed guards. He hurt so many people that totally would have gotten him arrested. He managed to be scot-free. So tell me right now in the comments below, if you guys are still watching, and thank you, and I know I'm getting mad again, but thank you for those who are still watching. Tell me in the comments, seriously and honestly, why couldn't they have stayed in Seattle? Again, I've said it before. They go to Sean and they say, what happened? And Sean says, my brother killed the officer, but it was by accident. He has this force power. Have you ever seen Star Wars? He's a Jedi. He could be a Sith. He probably is a Sith. In fact, by the end of the game, he is one. But right now, we'll just say he's kind of unclear about where he stands with the force. And then the officer will say, you're nuts. I'm going to go ask him, hey, did you kill the officer? And he'll say, yes, I have the force. And he'll say, well, show me. And he'll say, okay, let me move that car for you. And he'll move the car and they'll say, oh, you have force powers, but you're 9, so we can't charge you. And Sean, you didn't do it because clearly you didn't, so you're free to. Well done, you got, like, this was just another day in the life of Seattle. And that's it. That's what would have happened. Instead, we literally get the rest of the game where Sean and Daniel do terrible things, including Sean killing somebody, including Daniel hurting countless others, and again, destroying like federal buildings that totally would get you arrested. Not to mention also showing federal agencies that he does have supernatural powers, which don't think for a second that if that did happen, the government wouldn't swoop in and take him away. That would never be allowed. And again, you could say it's a game, it's not realistic. You can't pick both. You can't have it both ways. You can't just have it one way and say, oh, we're not going to focus on the other. If you want to focus about politics, if you want to focus about the realism of these two brothers' journeys, then you got to make it realistic that if you're going to show these people at the border that you can flip cars with your hand, that you need to be taken out. And especially if you are shown to be dangerous and that you're on the wrong side of the law, which clearly Sean and Daniel are, you need to be taken out. But anyway, why couldn't they have just stayed in Seattle? Nothing would have happened to them. They actually would have been better people overall if they stayed. They became worse characters in terms of villains by the end of the game by doing all the stuff that they did. They did so many horrible things, and I don't feel, and that goes back to my first thing. I don't like them. I don't like how they're acted. I don't like how they're written, but I also don't like them as people. If these were humans, they would be garbage people. I would never want to associate with them because they're garbage. They're bad. They've killed people, some people on accident, but some people on purpose. They've hurt people, and they're very selfish. All Sean wants to do is get to Mexico, and all Daniel wants to do is, I don't know, do whatever. He'll rob if he gets convinced of it, but they'll just do whatever they want. They are bad people. Max, again, say what you will about maybe she's not well acted, maybe she's not a well written, maybe you didn't like the character, maybe you didn't like the first season of Life is Strange, but like literally her character, she's a good person. She tries her best. She tries. And I know the episode 5, the whole point was like, well, is she selfish? Is she really doing this kind of for herself? And the answer is no, not really. She does have a heart. She cares about others. It's if you actually did that throughout the game. But Max is a good person. Sean and Daniel are not good people. We played villain roles in this game, but that's fine, by the way. I love playing as villains when we're doing villainy things because we're villains. Sean and Daniel are villains, but Don't Nod still paints them as our heroes, that they're good people, that they still care, that there's something redeemable about them. Again, that they're actual good human beings, right? Because again, you could free those illegals in the cages, and that would be a good thing to do. No, not really. They were put there because they broke the law. You'd be breaking them out of jail, which, by the way, is illegal. So you shouldn't do that. You just shouldn't, but the game gives you the option to, and the game actually would make you feel good about it, and would make you feel bad if you didn't. So all of these examples just showing these are two bad people, and I can't get behind them because the game is trying to make them be good while also making them do bad things. So again, like, I'll play a Star Wars game as Darth Vader and I will destroy every Jedi in the galaxy. I'll do that because that's the point. That's who Darth Vader is as a person. But that's not who Sean, you know what I mean? So they have to line up, and this game does not line up. I think that's it. This went on way longer than I wanted to, but I feel better about myself now. Let me know in the comments below. I know I kind of got off the rails towards the end, but I think I made some pretty valid points. So if you guys don't agree, please let me know. List me examples, list me evidence, list me stuff that shows me that I am wrong and you guys are right if you want to go that path. I do also just appreciate you guys watching and listening and hearing me out, that I have a different viewpoint. Again, there'll be more videos in the coming days. I hope to see you guys there.